There is a moment that happens to almost everyone who has lived long enough. You're alone. Maybe it's late at night. Maybe you're in your car in the driveway and you've been sitting there longer than you realize. Maybe you're looking out a window, coffee gone cold in your hand. And you notice something strange. You got the things you thought you wanted. The house, the career, the partner, the money, the respect. Maybe not all of them, but enough of them. More than the younger version of you would have believed possible. And you still feel something missing, something unresolved, a quietness that isn't peace, an ache you can't name. If that moment has ever found you, if it's finding you right now, you are not broken, you are not ungrateful, you are not depressed. You are simply awake to something that human beings have been awake to for 2,500 years. And today, I want to tell you what it is, what it's called, why it happens to nearly every person who achieves what they set out to achieve, and what to do with it. You were told, growing up, that this moment wasn't supposed to come. You were told that if you worked hard, built something, earned things, the ache would end. The striving would end. You would arrive. That's the story. It's the story your parents told you, if they loved you. It's the story every movie told you. It's the story the world runs on. And most of the time, nobody lied to you on purpose. The people who told you this believed it themselves. They were giving you the only map they had. But here you are. You followed the map, and the thing the map promised, that final feeling of, okay, I can rest now, it didn't arrive. Or it did arrive for a moment, a week after the promotion, a month after the wedding, a few days after moving into the house. And then, quietly, something came back. The same restlessness that was there before. A new thing to reach for. A new absence where satisfaction was supposed to sit. I want you to know something before we go any further. If this has happened to you more than once, you are not failing at life. You are not ungrateful. You are not missing some piece that everyone else has figured out. You have simply discovered, through your own experience, something that certain traditions figured out a very long time ago. The problem isn't that you haven't achieved enough. The problem is that achievement was never going to be what fixed you. There is an old word for what you are experiencing. It was spoken in a language most people don't read anymore, but the word itself is very simple. The word is Tanha. It means, roughly, thirst. Not literal thirst, not physical thirst. The other kind. The kind that doesn't end when you drink. The kind of thirst that makes you believe that if you just had one more thing, one more accomplishment, one more relationship, one more version of yourself, you would finally feel complete. 2,500 years ago, a teacher named Siddhartha, a man who had grown up with everything a person could want, began to notice this kind of thirst in himself and in everyone around him. He noticed that people were not suffering because they did not have enough. He noticed they were suffering because of the thirst itself. And he made a claim that at the time was very strange. He said, "The chasing is the pain, not the not having, the chasing." Now, when most people hear this for the first time, they think it means stop wanting things, don't have goals, give up, become a monk. That is not what he said. What he said was this: notice that there is a thirst inside you that does not get quenched by anything you drink. Notice that the moment after you get what you wanted, the thirst starts looking for a new target. Notice that the thirst is not actually a signal that something is wrong with your life. The thirst is simply the nature of thirst. The thirst is not your enemy. The thirst is not a problem to solve. The thirst is just something to see. He noticed there were different flavors of this thirst, and if you've lived a life, you know all of them. There is the thirst for pleasure, good food, beautiful things, the moment of warmth with someone you love. These are not bad, but they don't stay. And the moment they leave, the thirst is already pointing at the next thing. There is the thirst to become something, to be a person who has arrived, a successful person, a respected person, a good parent, a good partner. This is the thirst that drives most of a human life, and it is the one that hurts the most, because every time you become the thing you were trying to be, the finish line quietly moves. And then there is the thirst to disappear, to escape, to stop feeling whatever you're feeling. This one tends to come later, after the first two thirsts have exhausted you. Most of us spend our entire lives moving between these three thirsts, drinking and drinking and drinking, and never quite noticing that the thirst is the only thing that stays. There is a story that has been told in one form or another for centuries. I want to tell you a version of it. A young man came to visit a teacher who lived in a small hut at the edge of a village. The young man was ambitious. He had plans. He told the teacher, "I have worked out exactly what I need. I will build a successful business. I will find a wife who loves me. I will have strong children. I will build a house my family can live in for generations. And when I have all of these things, I will finally be at peace. I will finally put down the weight I've been carrying." The teacher listened. He nodded. Then he reached beside his mat and picked up a small wooden bowl, worn, simple, empty. He handed it to the young man and said, "Take this with you. Hold it in your hands while you do everything you are going to do. And when you have all the things you described, the business, the wife, the children, the house, that is when you put the bowl down. You will know. Come back to me then." The young man took the bowl. He thanked the teacher, and he went out to live his life. 20 years passed. The young man became a successful man. He built his business. He married a woman he loved. He had children who grew up strong. He built a house on good land. And he was still carrying the bowl. One afternoon, exhausted, he remembered the teacher. He walked back to the hut. The teacher was older now, his hair white, but still alive. The teacher looked at the bowl, still in the man's hand, and smiled gently. "Why didn't you put it down?" he asked. The man said, "I kept thinking there was just one more thing. Every time I got what I was reaching for, another thing appeared. My business grew, so it needed more. My children grew, so they needed more. My house was finished, but the next one started to seem better. I kept meaning to put it down, but my hand had learned to hold something." The teacher said, "The bowl was never the weight. The weight is that you taught yourself for 20 years to always be holding something. The chasing became the way you know how to be alive. So what do you do with this? If you've lived long enough to recognize the bowl in your own hand, what is actually being asked of you? The first thing I want to say is what is not being asked. You are not being asked to stop having goals. You are not being asked to stop loving your family, stop caring about your work, stop building things in the world. This is not a teaching about giving up. It is a teaching about seeing. The practice is small. It is almost embarrassingly small, but it is the whole thing. Here it is. The next time you accomplish something, anything, a good day at work, a project completed, a small milestone, a conversation that went well, before you move to the next thing, pause. Not for a long time, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute if you can, and notice what happens inside you. You will almost certainly notice this, a small feeling of satisfaction, and then, very quickly, a pull toward what's next. Your mind reaching, the thirst returning, quieter than before, but there. You're not trying to stop it. You're not trying to fix it. You are just watching it happen. You are meeting the thirst. This is the whole practice, because once you can see the thirst, really see it, the way you would see a wave rising in the ocean, the thirst loses its power to run your life. You still want things, you still pursue things, but the pursuit no longer owns you. There is space between you and the wanting. And in that space, that small space, something else appears. Contentment is not the absence of wanting. Contentment is the space between you and the wanting. That is what the teacher meant. That is what Siddhartha was pointing at, sitting under a tree 2,500 years ago. The goal is not to end the thirst. The goal is to stop being the thirst. Come back to the moment I described at the very beginning. You in the car. You at the window. You in the kitchen at 3 a.m, not sure why you're awake. That ache. What if that ache was never a sign of failure? What if that ache is the most important thing that's ever happened to you? Because here is what that ache is actually doing. It is telling you that the map you were given, the one that said, when you get these things, you will be complete, was never accurate. It was never your fault that it didn't work. It didn't work for anybody, not ever. And the ache is telling you that there is another possibility, a quieter one, a more honest one. Not a better list of things to chase, not a new life to run toward, just a different relationship with the one you're already living. The fact that you are feeling this right now means you are past the stage of life where achievement was enough. You have outgrown the map. The ache is the sound of that outgrowing. Most people, when they feel this, reach for another thing, a new goal, a new identity, a new version of themselves to chase. That is the thirst trying to solve the thirst. There is another option. You can sit with it. You can let the ache do its work. You can notice, over time, that the ache is not telling you that you need something else. The ache is telling you that you are ready to stop reaching. Not forever, not all the way, just a little bit. Just enough to see what's here. The peace you thought you would get from achievement, you can have it. You just have to set down the bowl. If something in this opened up for you, I'd like to give you something to take with you. I made a short guide, a PDF, that walks through this practice more slowly. 3 moments in a week where you can meet the thirst. 10 minutes to read, linked in the description. There is no cost, nothing to buy. If something opens up for you this week, tell me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you noticed. And if you'd like to keep walking with this, I'll be here. New teachings every week. Thank you for sitting with me. Sit with it. If this practice spoke to you, the Buddha Therapy Journal was made for exactly this. A guided space to meet the thirst, to pause after the achievement and notice what is actually here. Handcrafted pages, mindfulness prompts, room to sit with what you are feeling without needing to fix it. buddhatherapy.shop. Link in the description.